Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jeremy here at ExtremeWeatherTracker.com, updating your tropical weather at 12:05 p.m. on August 24th, 2011. We want to talk about Hurricane Irene today, now a major hurricane, Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, with sustained winds of 115 miles per hour with higher gusts. Hurricane Irene is located in the southeastern Bahamas, moving to the west-northwest at about 12 miles per hour. Let's dive right into this and look at the tropical Atlantic floater. You can see the eye fairly visible on the satellite imageries right here on the last few frames, and she has some fairly good outflow going to the north and east side. The feeder bands are coming in very well, but there's also some dry air getting entrained into the circulation here, which is limiting development just a little bit. As you can see, these bands out here on the outside is collapsing and not really forming. She's a little bit asymmetrical, which means she's lopsided off to the north and east. Although she has filled out some on the southern side, rather, she's a little bit lopsided and probably will continue to be. And you can see these jogs here on the satellite imagery where the eye is just rotating around, or rather the convection rotating around the eye here. It looks like in some of the frames she's moving due west, but it's actually she's moving off in a west-northwest direction. And I want to point out here, Bahamas are really going to get smacked by this thing here, and this is the island of New Providence here, which is home to Nassau. About 70% of all the population of the Bahamas live in this area here. About 210,000 people live on this island, and one can hope that this hurricane does not pass to the east of these guys. We're hoping that they'll pass on off to the west where they don't feel the direct effects. As we can turn on the tropical points, and you can see that the forecast points actually bring it in actually a northwesterly direction before turning it a little bit further to the north, and actually missing Nassau here by a little bit of a margin to give these guys a little bit of a break there. But we're kind of waiting to see what happens if the forecast brings it a little bit closer over Nassau. This definitely could be a devastating blow to these guys, as this hurricane is very powerful with winds of 115 plus. So this is something we have to keep an eye on over the next 24 or 36 hours or so. Now let's talk about eventual forecast for Irene. Irene is forecast to move off in a west-northwest direction, northwest direction, before turning northeast just near the outer banks of the North Carolina coastline here. And it's going to be a close call. You know, a track a little bit further to the west would bring her into North Carolina. If she turns a little bit further out to the east, we could see a miss altogether of the United States. That's not out of the question. And keep in mind the cone of possibility here brings it just to the south North Carolina border here, and then out to sea. Also want to point out, once she makes this close pass to the Outer Banks, we're still not out of the woods yet, folks. The forecast track brings Irene up very close to New York City. New York City will be on the western side. Boston, Manchester, Long Island, all of these places would really get hit by this storm, keeping it at a Category 1, Category 2 hurricane in this area here before impacting Maine up here. So this is something we really need to keep a close eye on, because not only could it be devastating to North Carolina, but this could also be a complete East Coast raker here. And some of the models are bringing this up more like this, and that would really be worst case scenario: Philadelphia, New York City, all of these areas, Boston, Portland, all of these areas in here can really expect to see some heavy winds and some heavy rains, and this really could be a devastating impact for these guys. And I'll turn on the model forecast, and you can see this is the model spread, actually in fairly good agreement, bringing Irene up. They're fairly tightly clustered just off the Outer Banks right here, and a couple of the models are wanting to bring it out a little further out to sea, and bringing it right up through the Outer Banks here, and then just right here into the New England states. I mean, just dead centering these guys, and this would be a devastating impact to the Northeast, as the main population of the U.S. is actually centered up here. So this really would be a terrible scenario for all these folks living in the Northeast. So this is something we're concerned about. We really need to keep an eye on. I believe Florida is probably out of the woods. You should see some impacts from this, possibly even some tropical storm force wind, as this system is very large, and you should see some rain bands come in, especially to the coast, and South Carolina could possibly see a little bit. But just a track a little 50 miles further east than what is forecast, or further west than what is forecast, could mean the difference in somebody seeing hurricane force winds, or actually just seeing tropical storm force winds. So the eventual track, like I said, the air out to 5 days is like 250 miles. So it's not really. Let's not really focus on the eventual track. Let's actually focus on getting prepared and having our hurricane preparations in place. If I lived here in the Outer Banks, any of these outer islands in the Pamlico Sound here, I definitely would. I would already be gone, or I would be making preparations to leave immediately. This is really probably going to be affected quite a bit. And also up here in the Northeast, these guys really don't have a lot of problems with hurricanes or have evacuation plans. But you need to be focusing on what you need to do to protect your lives and protect your property. Property can be replaced, lives cannot. So guys, let's just stay vigilant and be focused over the next few days on exactly where this thing's going. We're just relying on the model forecast now, the fine-tuning of this system, exactly where it's going to track these little wobbles that I talked about, the wobbles that you see off to the west, and that's going to happen over the next few days. You see the wobbles west, north, but it's in a general motion here over the to the west northwest or northwest over the next few days. And definitely keep in mind, these guys here in Nassau, guys, you need to be preparing now. You need to definitely find shelter, because this is definitely headed in your general direction. Now, as far how far it gets, the forecast points do take it off to the east of you guys, so hopefully you wouldn't be on the worst side of this, but some of these other islands are right in the path. You're really going to get hammered by this, and are getting hammered as we speak. So once again, let's just keep our eyes open, keep everyone just stay vigilant and focus on what you need to do over the next few days to stay prepared if in the event that you do have to evacuate. Irene, I do believe in this area of the world, probably will reach Category 4 status, at least for a brief time. There is very, very warm waters in here, and that she's going to be moving over in relatively light shear, so I believe that she will become a very powerful hurricane and really, really hammering the Bahamas here before making her pass at the East Coast. And those fine details of actually who will be affected by this along the eastern seaboard will be worked out over the next couple of days. So everyone keep checking back, and I'll keep updating you. This is Jeremy here at ExtremeWeatherTracker.com. See you all again soon.